Chris Brown, Steve Tasker with you, and pleased to be joined now by the head coach of Arkansas football. Led them to a Liberty Bowl victory over Texas Tech at the end of last season. It's Sam Pittman joining us on the line here. And, Coach, thanks for giving us some time. I think you know why we got you on the show here. We got to talk a little Landon Jackson with you. And I got to say, the thing I wanted to ask you, because I think you can really speak to this from a true expert perspective, you know, being a long-time offensive line coach yourself, what do you think shows up on film the most with Landon Jackson that as a former O-line coach would have you concerned going into a game against that guy?
Well, his length would be the first thing. That his arm length is before. I wasn't as concerned about his get off the ball because we had to work on it. But tell you what, now his get off is something, and if he can get an edge on you. He's hard because he's so long and he's fast. We moved him inside some and rushed a little bit there too, and I thought that was great for him because of his quickness and obviously his length in there as well. So on those guards, so that would be the first two, and then he's got a big time motor. And so those are the things that would be concerning to me as an offensive line coach.
We see one of the things we don't get a chance to see doing it at this level at the NFL and playing on Sundays that you do on Saturdays is you get a guy like Landon Jackson who is a completely different dude 3 years from the time he comes in as a freshman to the time he gets to where you got him on the field all the time. Give us an idea of what you saw from beginning to end of his time at Arkansas.
Well, I think with him, I believe that he really liked Arkansas out of high school. We just were, unfortunately weren't very good at that time. And I don't know if that's why we lost him, but that was part of it. And then when the coaching change came, he basically contacted us. And so I've seen him mature. He's got a great family. And as I told a lot of NFL scouts, he's gotten better for us every single year, and I believe he's going to get better in the NFL every single year because he wants to. He's got greater leadership abilities. He's one of those guys that, didn't come in here in the NIL era and, say I have to have this. Never threaten me. Let's put it like that. And I have high respect for guys like that. And obviously we wanted to pay him what we felt like we could and what his worth was, but just a guy that's non-confrontational, a guy that's matured each and every year. He's gotten bigger. He's gotten really strong. He had an ACL coming in here, so that very first spring he was not able to practice. But we've never had one bit of a problem with that either. So surgeons are so much better than they used to be, and he didn't miss game time or anything like that. So he's just gotten bigger, stronger, and the one thing that I would say his explosiveness has improved greatly since he's been here over the last 3 years.
Yeah, and Coach, just to kind of dovetail off what you said about him still having some ceiling to reach, here at the highest level of football, to what degree do you feel he's refined himself as a pass rusher through his college years?
I think he's just getting better, and I think he's got work to do in that area, and I think he will. And I think where he went in the draft, I thought that was a really good deal for the Bills. I did. I've been in a long time. I thought he, might get drafted much higher than what he did. I think and I think he has something to prove. He's that type of kid, and has that mentality. But he's going to go in there and he's going to work. He's going to be a great team player. He's going to be fit in, I think, wonderfully with the Bills. And I just feel like his best ball's ahead of him because I think he's gotten better each and every year that he was here.
One of the unique things about him we found out after the draft, we don't really dive deep on our end of it, and these guys like the coaches and like you guys do, is his unique personal life. He's got a wife and child. I mean, he seems like about 6 or 7 years further down the road than maybe what you'd think a college kid would be.
Well, let me give you an example. His wife, Grace, worked for us. Beautiful, beautiful person, beautiful in every way. parents, same way. He went and with some of his NIL money bought a home, and he sold it. He's just an older guy, but I attribute that to his family, his upbringing, and Grace and her family, but they came in here. Grace, was with him at LSU, and she didn't think too much of Arkansas, in the recruiting. I've recruited her harder than him, to be honest, and she worked here in the building. But I just attribute all what he is and to his maturity, but also to the family and the upbringing.
I want to take you back to the 2023 season for a second, if I could, Coach. Landon has a huge game against Alabama, career high 11 tackles, 3.5 sacks in that game. You guys almost won that game. What do you remember most about his performance specifically in that game?
Just the physicality, and I think he's like that. I mean, I think he plays up in the opponents. If you can hype up the tackle that he's over and all that, I think he plays. His game goes up against the bigger opponents, and I just remember they couldn't block him, and gave us a chance to win the game there at the end. Unfortunately, we didn't, but I can remember him being all over the field, and that guy that I thought that he would be the entire time he was here. It was kind of a breakthrough game for him, actually.
Well, we know that you guys, you're never not busy. I know you're neck deep in it. How soon do you start thinking about Alabama A&M on August 30th? You guys start to wind up for that pretty quick?
Well, I wish we could. We have a few more scholarships left. Have a couple of guys coming in today and tomorrow. But I'd like to get it wrapped up by the weekend if we can, and then head to, obviously, spring recruiting with the coaches, and I can have time to start doing a little bit more breakdowns over our first three opponents. But it's just, with the calendar, how it is, and the portal being open after spring ball, which is still very, very confusing to me and a lot of coaches, I'm sure. But,
yeah,
don't you have spring ball to complete your team, and then the portal opens, and then you have to figure it out. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But anyway, we'll get on that. We still got probably through this weekend, and then hopefully we're settled in a little bit.
Coach, I wanted to touch on something you mentioned about Landon as a leader. 2 years, a captain. Like, you don't see that terribly often. What do you feel it was that made him such an effective and respected captain amongst his teammates the last 2 years?
Well, I think you have to have the work ethic. I don't think you can lead with your mouth. I think you have to lead with whom you are and your everyday and your accountability. And I think that's exactly who he is. Now, what does a good leader do? He talks. Now, when he talks, he has to back it up. But the first thing, he has to earn respect. And I think he has respect from everybody in this state, including obviously his teammates and his coaching staff.
And then the last one I got for you, Coach, because I think this gets lost sometimes. People see, what position does he play? And they just only think defense. But I know you use this guy on special teams. You see a guy this long, it's like, get him out there on field goal block. And I think he blocked a couple for you in his career, right?
Oh, he did. Yeah, he blocked one. Yeah, he did. A big one against Auburn a couple of years back. And yeah, I mean, and those are things that a lot of guys, your superstars or your better guys on the team, a lot of them, it's very, very difficult to get them to play on special teams. But as we've seen with Landon, it helped him. Isaac Tesla, who went to Detroit Lions, I think it had a lot to do with their special teams play. I put him in there. We had a guy here named Dan Skipper. He's playing for the Lions now, and he blocked 4 or 5, and when he was here, and they're doing the same thing out there. So I think special teams value is huge, and if he can block a big field goal for the Bills and win a big game, I texted him, and he was disappointed. We went down there for the first round, and he was disappointed, and heck, everybody would be. Y'all been through that, Steve. I mean, you guys been through that, and I texted him, and I said, Lord works in a lot of different ways. You just went to a team that has a chance, a huge chance to win the Super Bowl. And I think that meant more to him, to be honest with you, than what round, what pick he was picked. I think he wanted to go to the Bills, and I think that always makes us all better when we want to be somewhere.
Well, Coach, sure, we appreciate you taking some time. I know how busy it is. You guys just finished up spring ball, and you got scholarships you're trying to award. Good luck with that. Good luck to the Razorbacks. We'll be watching.
Guys, appreciate you.